Oh, Merry post-Christmas, everybody. Welcome back to the Dutch in Denver podcast. I'm Dutch. I'm in Denver. This is my podcast. I have a ton of stuff to talk about this week, and it's all completely fucking retarded. Because that's basically what this is about now. There's really nothing you talk about that's happy unless you're like, oh, space aliens, but government stuff. It'll all just be wrapped into fucking. Hey, either way, I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas with your family, your friends, or if you were alone, that's your fault because I invited you and you just didn't bother to show the fuck up. My Christmas was good. We had tons of family here, blah, blah, everybody. Big news though. I think I've really gotten the hang of Yorkshire pudding. Like I've mastered it. It was delicious. I mean, clearly we had a standing rib roast, which I nailed. We cooked like 34 pounds of beef. It was fantastic. We only had like maybe 3 ribs left over. It's good Christmas. It's good for everybody, at least at our house. Some of you probably had horrible Christmas because you're a crazy fucking liberal and you're on TikTok like saying, I'm not going to tell my kids about Santa, or I'm going to ruin Santa for them because I'm not going to let a white man take credit for all my hard work because I'm a piece of shit. Oh, yeah, I'm not making that up. That was actually something that I saw on the old interwebs. Is some black lady is bitching about Santa Claus. Like, I'm not going to tell my kids about Santa because I'm not going to let some white man take responsibility and credit for my hard fucking work. Okay, you're the scum of the earth. You horrible fucking person. Your kids should be taken away from you. You're going to ruin Christmas and Santa for your children because you're a dumbass. See, I've already digressed. Like, we're going to go down some deep, dark holes tonight. But for the record, I had a fantastic Christmas. I loved it. I love Christmas. I think it is the best holiday, tied with 4th of July, but for different reasons. Your family might irritate you, they might be, but they're all there that day, and it's a fantastic thing. And the children opening all their presents, just ripping through them, and they're all from Santa, you bitch. But it was great. Okay, so we had a fantastic time at Christmas. We'll probably have a great New Year's. I'm stoked. Let's get into some Christmas stuff though. So for all of you who don't know, if you don't know, you're a bad person. So on Christmas Eve, NORAD tracks Santa, and they track him across the world and where he's at. And I learned this year that I didn't know is that NORAD works with OnStar, and you can be in your OnStar vehicle and press OnStar, and one of your kids can be like, hey guys, and this is only Christmas Eve, where's Santa? And OnStar works with them with NORAD, and they're like, Santa's right here. And they'll tell your kids where Santa is, which I think is awesome. That is so cool that everyone does that together. Hey, Lonesome Lenny, what's up, buddy? You're new here. Welcome. This is the Dutch in Denver podcast. We play games too. Okay, so back to my OnStar thing. You can, like I said, you can do that, and NORAD's involved, blah blah blah. But I guess Sleepy Joe was taking calls about tracking Santa with NORAD and stuff, and some guy called in and was like, hey man, blah blah blah, let's go Brandon. And Joe Biden's like, yeah, let's go Brandon. And his wife is there like, okay. I mean, so for those of you guys who don't know, and this is where we're gonna get ridiculously political for a little bit, let's go Brandon came about from a NASCAR race where this guy won and everybody started chanting, fuck Joe Biden. And the liberal media was like, hey man, they're all chanting your name, let's go Brandon. Because it just so happens the guy who won the race, his name was Brandon. That is not what happened. Like, they were not chanting "Let's go, Brandon." They were chanting "Fuck Joe Biden." So the right has now turned this into like our battle cry. Okay, and that's absolutely what it means. Okay, it means "Fuck Joe Biden." That's what it means. You just don't say that out loud because we're in civilized society. We're not the left who, yelled "fuck Trump" for 4 years, which we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. Um, Side note, yeah, Lenny, Christmas is for kids, absolutely for the kids. I mean, it's to be with your family and loved ones and stuff like that, which we'll talk more Christmas, but it absolutely is for the kids. Okay, and if you want to take Christmas away from your kids, you're a scumbag who should burn in hell. Okay, so Biden is doing this national thing, like he's taking calls for where Santa's at, and this dad from Oregon calls. He's like, "Let's go, Brandon," and Biden, who again doesn't know where the fuck he's at. I don't hate him for that reason. Okay, I mean the people around him are horrible, horrible scumbags for putting him up like that. Okay, but yeah, and then Biden's like, "Oh, let's go, Brandon." It doesn't even. I mean, basically, he's just like, "Fuck me," you know. Uh the left is beside themselves in anger. I mean, they are like, "I can't believe anybody would have blah 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 blah." They're just out of their minds. Okay, so the guy who called in, I guess, is the dad from Oregon. I got two things to say here. I think it's funny as hell he got that jab in there. Uh let's talk about the dad, then we'll talk about Biden. So I think it's funny as hell he got that jab in there. He now though is kind of like backtracking and like, "Oh, I was just joking and maybe I didn't know what it meant, blah blah blah." No, dude, don't be a little bitch. Okay? Stand up and take your licks for what you said. Okay? I mean, I'm proud of you. I thought it was hilarious. Um it was more funny when Biden was like, "Yeah, let's go, Brandon," because he has no idea what's going on, and his horrible bitch of a wife is just forcing him to do this. And trust me, she is. Okay? Like, this is not his choice. This is her choice, and she's a piece of shit for continuing to make this poor old man get up there and make an utter fool of himself. Okay, like, if I was on okay, live podcast, we're doing this right now. Okay, if I was on a live podcast and somebody was like, "Hey man, fuck Dutch," and I was like, "Yeah, fuck Dutch. What? Where am I?" That would not be funny. I, yeah, I mean, that's not funny. That's just horrible. Like, if I'm confused and I don't know what's going on and someone's forcing me to go out there, like, that'd be like taking a mentally challenged person and just be like, "Okay, you're going to be our puppet and people are going to make fun of you and it's going to be horrible, but we don't give a shit because we're horrible people." And I mean, that's essentially what they're doing to him. But okay, that's that Biden. Now, the guy who's like backing down, like, "Oh, I was just joking." No, dude, own that. Be like, "Yeah, fuck Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon." Like, it's bad right now. Oh, there's Phil. Hey, Phil, what's up, buddy? Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you always being here. Lenny's in here now. Maybe we might have a new viewer. Lenny might hop on Xbox with us one time, or he just might like to comment. Let's see, what does Lenny say? What's unfortunate is Brandon can't get any sponsored contracts. Yeah, I mean that's cancel culture though, and that's a Lenny. If you're new here, buddy, go listen to our other podcasts. They're all like a little right leaning. I drink a lot. I always have my Yetis. It's bourbon. And I mean, I explain cancel culture because I mean, I don't hate the left. I hate today's left. Those guys are fucking nuts, and they need to be. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for that Brandon guy too. But everybody's gone woke, and they're learning slowly that this is not the way. But for the Oregon dad who's like backing down now, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't." Fuck you, pussy. If you had the guts or the balls to get up there and say that on worldwide television and now you're backing down because of a little bit of hate, eat a dick, nerd. Own that. I have shirts that say "Let's go, Brandon." They're in the back here. Okay, I think it's funny. Now onto the more relevant. I don't know, it's not relevant or anything, but the mainstream media and the left and other people are like fucking beside themselves with this. They're like, I can't believe anybody would ever say something so horrible, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And there's this Twitter account I think called like Defiant L's or something, and they like these people. This guy or woman works super hard, and they go way back and find like a tweet that someone had like 3 years ago that was like, oh, fuck Trump and I hope he dies and he's a horrible goddamn person and that piece of shit. And and then like yesterday they tweet like, I can't believe anybody would ever say fuck the president and it's so disrespectful. And it's just, and it's usually a blue check mark or somebody on the left, which is just, it's hilarious to me because they spent 4 years, like De Niro, that pussy got up there and at some award show was like, fuck Trump. And people are like, yeah. And then some guy from Oregon with no testicles gets up there and is like, let's go, Brandon. People are like, oh my God, the humanity, it's so horrible. The hypocrisy is what bothers me the most. Okay. And I'm sure there's hypocrisy on the right. Actually, I know there is hypocrisy on the right. Like I won't say we're as nutsos as the people on the left, but we have our idiots. And that's what, so I've been trying to find, we've talked about this. One of my, I follow someone on Twitter called Libs of TikTok, and they just find like the craziest liberals on TikTok and post pictures and make fun of them. Like these people are like, I want to be referred to as cat self or bunny self. Okay, awesome. And I laugh and like, haha, you're crazy and stupid. And then I cry because that's an actual person who has a vote. But I've been looking for the counterpart to libs of TikTok. Like if there's like a conservative of TikTok, that has like crazy conservatives up there who are like, some racist guy in Alabama is like, I hate all them black people and blah blah blah, and I like to drink and beat my wife, and I live in a trailer, and that would be funny to me too, because I understand that both sides have um nutsy cuckoo people, like fucking crazy wackos. What I My problem is that I think the crazy wackos on the left have infiltrated the country more so than the crazy wackos on the right, and they're actually destroying it. Because like no one's listening to the redneck in Alabama who hates black people at his Klan meeting. Like that, no, that guy is not influencing policy. He's not. He has no say in anything except his little TikTok that people are like, you're racist, or his buddies are like, yeah, hell yeah, Cletus, get it in, brother. Okay, so he has like no say, and I mean that's the fringe of the conservatives. The problem is that the crazy fringe of the left is actually influencing policy. You guys know that, I mean, we're defunding the police in certain cities, and like look at San Francisco. That place is an ungodly shithole, all because of what the left has done to it. And if you don't agree with me and you think that, oh, you're just some right leaning hip wacko too living in your trailer down there in Denver, I will talk to you about this later. There is a progressive, a self-proclaimed progressive in San Francisco that did an epic Twitter feed, or Twitter thread that she was like, okay, maybe this isn't working. And she got so close to the right answer. But yeah, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's just okay, so like the whole let's go Brandon thing, I think it's funny. I think it's a little bit sad that we're doing it to a poor old man who literally does not know what's going on, and his wife and the Democrats are forcing him up on stage to make a complete fool of himself a day, 2, 3, 4 times a day, whatever. Anytime the man speaks, it's a complete fucking train wreck. And then people are just like, yeah, it's no more mean tweets. But I mean, okay, so I know this is very hard for everyone to objectively look at things, but let's objectively look at just a couple things like Trump versus Biden. And I don't want to hear Trump rode the coattails of Obama or any of that stuff. Ooh, Lenny is coming in with some big time stuff. So Lenny says it's a toxical political environment, and that might be the new normal. It is what it is. All right, Lenny, I do not disagree with you that it is a toxic political environment. It is horrible right now. And it's really sad that this is where we've come. I'm not sure that it's new normal though. I think that enough people, and if you hang around and listen, I will get to, like I said, a progressive in San Francisco who's starting to question some of the policies. And if your own side is questioning the policies, I think that's a step in the right direction. But it's just like I said, right now it's just it. I really do think that the left is a little crazier than the right. It's like the left has lost their fucking minds, and the right has no spine and will do nothing about it. And I think that is where the problem is. Because, okay, so let's objectively talk about this, and I'll just bring up a couple points, okay, with Trump versus Biden. Okay. And I don't want to hear any coattails, and I don't want to hear any Trump did this. No. Okay. So, right now, inflation, and this is a fucking fact. Like, you cannot deny this. Inflation is out of control. Like, shit is way more expensive than it used to be, and not like the 2-3% that inflation normally is. Like, it is skyrocketing out of control. And in past podcasts, we have discussed why it's out of control. Um, and it's all 100% liberal policies. And there's no way that you can doubt it out. People be like, hey, it's COVID. Nope, that's actually over with supply chain issues and stuff. It's more of like environmental crap, union stuff, just crazy shit. Some of it's COVID, but it's mostly, that kind of policies. So that's like strike one. Because I mean, Trump, love him or hate him, if you're objective, before COVID, he had this country running like a goddamn business, and we were steamrolling. Oh, but people flipping burgers didn't make $15 an hour. You know my opinion about that. They should never make $15 an hour. That's an entry level position for a kid in high school. It's not a career choice. So you don't get 15. That's okay. Foreign policy. Trump, I think Trump was like almost so crazy that people are like, don't fuck with him. He's the guy that will get naked and fight you, and nobody wants to fight a naked guy. So that's why his worked. Joe Biden doesn't work because he doesn't have one. Like, again, look at Afghanistan. You cannot deny this. That was an unmitigated fucking disaster. I'm not a politician. I'm not anybody who knows anything about foreign policy. But I can tell you one thing. If you're going to withdraw from a hostile country, you do not take out the military first. They're the last to leave. They're the first, like the second, and like you have citizens over there, working and stuff with this country, and then it all goes to shit, and then you send the military over there, and they get it done, and they're like, okay, this isn't working, so we got to get all of our defenseless people out of there, all the citizens that don't have fucking guns, we got to pull them out, and then the guys with the guns, we'll pull them out too. We also probably shouldn't leave like $10 billion worth of shit over there for them to fight us with. That's a terrible plan. Okay. That is a horrible plan. I mean, it's all right. It's like if I took my kids to school and during the fire drill, all the teachers were like, "Oh, we got to get the fuck out of here." And once we're all safe, while the building is burning down, we'll figure out how to get them kids out. That's not how you do it. You take the helpless little third graders out and the little children out. And, if God forbid, but just, crazy hypothetical, if a teacher were to die saving children, that teacher would be a hero. A second grader isn't going to save fucking anybody. Okay. Because they're not equipped to exfil from a burning school. Teachers are. They can carry two kids in each hand, maybe one on their back, like a soldier. A second grader can't. It wouldn't happen. It'd be an unmitigated disaster, just like Afghanistan. Yeah, I'm dude. Lenny, I like you already, man. He's right. Shipping containers, inflation is a runaway train. Uh, Trivia question: what causes inflation? And I need a specific. I don't need a. Well, things are more expensive, Dutch. Yeah, I know that. But yeah, Lenny, you are right. To ship things overseas has like it costs like 6 times what it used to. It used to be. I think you're a little off. I think it used to be like 3,000, and now it's 26,000. But yeah, it's super expensive. Um, and that also has to do like so the OPEC thing. Man, we're getting sidetracked because Lenny's smarter than Phil. No offense, Phil, but you never pose these insightful things. But I still love you, Phil. Phil, I love playing video games with you, and I love you here for the podcast, and your clips are awesome. But okay, so as for the petroleum, like, do you know why gas is expensive? It's because A, we do not self-produce anymore because Biden shut that shit down. And when I say Biden, I mean his team, because I'm a firm believer in party Trump's person. Okay, like, did I agree with absolutely everything Donald Trump did? Of course not. I'm not an idiot. Okay, was he? Did he have a bad personality and said dumb crap on Twitter? Yes, but with Trump, you get conservative policies. Okay, and then the whole gaggle of that is what I stand for. And with Biden, you get that, and you get liberal policies, and I don't want that. So party always Trump's person. So what happened is we stopped producing or limited or cut back or whatever producing domestically. So then we had to go somewhere else. And we went somewhere else, and somewhere else was like, no, man, we're not producing any more oil. And Biden was like, oh, but please. And OPEC was like, no, fuck you. And people were like, oh, OPEC, just mean bullies, horrible monopoly. Bah, 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 bah. Yeah, maybe. But I'll tell you really why they didn't want to produce any more oil is because they are so scared of being globally shut down again with another insane pandemic nonsense that, I mean, come on. If you came to me and was like, hey, Dutch, you make pizzas for a living and people love your pizzas and we need more pizzas. So I need you to spend a fuckload of money. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You just got done getting kicked in the nuts over a made up pandemic. Oh, it's not made up, Dutch. We'll talk about it later. We'll have more. It's a big one today. Okay. So you just got done getting kicked in the dick over this and you just lost your ass. So what I need you to do now is ramp up and spend even more money and help me out because I'm a dipshit. But I can't promise you we're not going to shut you down again and kick you back in the dick. That's essentially what OPEC is thinking and what we and the world has said to OPEC. So yeah, I don't blame him. I'd be like, no man, fuck you. I'm not spending any more money ramping up production just so you guys can shut us down again. And oil futures go to -40. Well, Dutch, how do they go -40? Well, it's just they had to pay someone to store their oil. Commodities and futures is difficult. We can talk about it, discuss it later. I'd be happy to. I think we would lose even more listeners than we already don't have. Okay. So that's essentially what's happening. Um, it's all crazy. It's I don't know what to say. Okay, let's move on. We'll step away from politics a little bit, but this might even be. So you know how last week we talked about that truck driver in Colorado who lost his brakes and like smashed into a bunch of cars, killed 4 people and burned a whole bunch of others, and he got like 110 years. So it turns out now that a bunch of people signed a petition, a bunch of people not from fucking Colorado, which I'll get to in a minute, signed a petition that was like 110 years was too long for him. You should reconsider. Wait a minute. Let's see what Lenny says. And then domino effect, petroleum costs rise. Manufacturing is dependent on energy. Plastics are... Dude. Lenny. Buddy. You're nailing this. Yeah. That's the other thing. So we've talked about this before of how like, electric cars aren't going to fix anything because I'm pretty sure the amount of petroleum used in gasoline, we use more petroleum because everything you own is a byproduct of petroleum. Like Lenny said, it's plastic. All your shit comes from some product of fossil fuels. So it's not, I mean, it's not going away anytime soon. All right, back to the Colorado truck driver thing, and then we'll go back to some more politics, and then we'll talk about some fun stuff. Okay, so everybody was pissed that this guy got like 110 years for killing 4 people, burning them alive, mind you, and then like maiming 6 others. Okay, and what happened was this guy was driving down I-70 in Colorado. And for you guys who don't know, as you're coming in Denver, you go down a very big hill. And we're talking a big hill. Okay. We're not talking about like your little hills in Ohio and New York. Like, oh my God. We're talking like a big hill. We're talking like coming down from 10,000 feet to, 5,000 feet in like 10 miles. Okay. We're like a big hill. So you get cruising. And if you're not properly prepared or you haven't done it, you could lose the brakes on your truck. So that means that your semi truck has no brakes and you're just careening towards traffic. And people are like, that's totally unsafe. What the fuck are we going to do? Well, don't worry. People have come up with things for you to do. They're called runaway truck ramps. And all you do is pull over to the side and your truck goes through like a football field of sand, maybe hits some water barrels. It safely stops. Everybody's okay. Even if you miss one, don't worry. There's another one and 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 another one. And if you miss all of those, you still have more options. Okay. But what this guy did is he neglected to properly maintain his truck, and he was a pussy. And instead of taking a runaway truck ramp, and some people have said, well, he can't speak English, so maybe he couldn't read it. I don't care about that. I mean, I do, but I don't. I don't think that's the point. He could have, even if it was crash his truck into a Jersey barrier and kill himself. Okay, you'll save some lives. So he got 110 years. People who aren't from Colorado signed a petition. They got like 4.5 million signatures, and now they are going to reconsider his sentencing. His sentence. I have a real big fucking problem with that. A real big problem with that for a couple reasons. Number one, we've talked about mandatory sentencing in Colorado. It's the law. That's just the way that it works. And if you don't agree with that, you don't sign a little petition because first of all, if you don't live here, you can fuck off because we don't care what your opinion. You don't live here. You don't get an opinion about how my state is run if you don't live here. And Kim Kardashian can shut the fuck up about how Colorado runs because you were drowning California in your psychotic commie crap. Okay? So if 4.5 million people sign this thing, I don't give a shit. That wasn't 4.5 million Coloradans. I don't care what your opinion is if you don't live in Colorado about a Colorado law. But Colorado has mandatory sentencing for some crimes. Okay. And if you don't like that, you should vote for people that will amend those laws. But currently, that's the law and that's the way that it works. Is it fair? I don't care. It's the law. And the way we change laws is through the legislative process, not by you signing a petition on change.org because you're a little bitch. Okay? That's the first thing. That's why he got so much time. He also killed 4 fucking people. And he only got 110 years. Usually, if you kill people, you get life sentences that stack, like 440 years. So I think he got off easy. Secondly, or thirdly, fourthly, I don't even know what number one. The little bitch of a DA who's running this dog and pony show has said, in light of new evidence, so you have new evidence that wasn't part of the trial. That's it. You have new evidence that wasn't part of the trial. If you don't see the problem with that, I can't help you. And statements from the victims and their families, we've decided to hold this new hearing. So, A, how do you have new evidence after the fact? Like, did you not go in with all this evidence and stuff? Like, what kind of DA are you, you pussy? And B, did you not talk to the victims and their families prior to sentencing? like every other trial in the world? It just makes no sense. What actually is happening is this DA, and I can't remember their name, but I think you can look it up. It's made national news. Is a little bitch, and he is pandering to a large crowd clamoring loudly. That is not how our justice system works. Fourthly, fifthly, whatever number we're on. A jury of his peers agreed with the charges, convicted him of said charges, and that's it. Nope, there's no more to it. That's how a trial works is you have 6 to 12 people judge you, and it's in our constitution, and that's how our justice system works, and blah blah blah. Now, by doing this, you're discounting the jury's verdict, which, I mean, what's to stop you from discounting any other verdicts? You guys were just wrong because this petition with 5 million people says that he's innocent, so he's innocent. It's insane that we're letting, mob rule dictate our justice system. It's just like the Derek Chauvin thing. Okay, was that guy guilty of killing George Floyd? Yeah, probably. Um, was the jury influenced by a crazy mob? Absolutely. You know, that brings me now. So speaking of juries and stuff, okay. So do you guys remember the female cop who like pulled this guy over and was like trying to arrest him for a bunch of warrants and stuff? And she was like yelling, "I'm gonna tase you! I'm gonna tase you!" And she accidentally pulled out her gun and shot him. You remember that? So her trial is done actually now. She was found guilty. But do you know what amazes me the most? That lady was in prison and she was in jail, I assume, or maybe out on bail. Doesn't matter. But she's on trial for that right now, or was on trial, but is now, convicted. When Alec Baldwin, that piece of shit, quote, accidentally shot someone and he's at home doing interviews. There's a two-tier justice system that is unbelievable in this country, and it's absurdly ridiculous. Now, she's a person in power and made me cop. Okay. But so my personal opinion about this is, did she mean to reach for her taser? Maybe. But even if she mistakenly did that, I can tell the difference between a taser and a gun in a minute. So yeah. Is she guilty of something? Maybe. But what baffles me is that he accidentally shot someone who, is resisting arrest and is a wanted felon. And she's on trial and in jail when Alec Baldwin shot an innocent person and he's at home doing interviews. If I'm the only one that sees something wrong with that, then explain to me what the difference is. Accidental shooting. Are you saying that she intentionally shot him? Because that's a pretty fucking elaborate hoax where she's screaming taser, knowing all around she's going to pull her gun and gut shot him. I honestly believe she meant to tase him, and I don't know if it was fear or an experience or whatever, but she pulled her gun and shot him. Okay, that does not excuse it. I think she should be punished for what she did, and to the fullest extent of the reasonable law. Actually, not even reasonable, the law in the books. But I also think Alec Baldwin's ass should be in fucking jail right now for murdering someone as well. Accident or not, you shot someone. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, there's a price to pay. But where's the left on that? You're like, oh my god, Alec Baldwin killed someone and we have him for an interview tonight where he cries like a little bitch and we all forgive him. See? I mean, how is that? It's just, God, it's fucking crazy. Let's see. So, did you guys see this? We're gonna talk COVID just for a little bit. Um, So did you guys see the crazy lady on the airplane who was like slapping an old man? And I mean, they were both yelling at each other. Okay, but she's yelling at an old man for not wearing a mask. Well, she's not wearing a mask. Think about that. Think how fucking retarded that is. That is where we're. Oh, never mind. Turns out she's like an ex playmate and Raiderette, which Raiderette, duh, stupid, because we hate the Raiders. Um, but yeah, it's just crazy. Like that's where we're at in this time. Like we have a psychotic person on a fucking airplane, like flying airplane, not tarmac, like a flying airplane. Like, and she's, I guess what happened was she went to the bathroom. She wanted to go back to her seat, and they were doing drink service, and they told her no, just find a seat you until we're done. And she was like, no, fuck that. And the guy was like, sit down. And then it turned into a thing. And he was eating and drinking, which I think the rules are if you eat and drink, you can take your mask off on an airplane. So he's eating and drinking, and this bitch is going nuts, telling him to put a mask on because he's risking everyone's safety. And the whole time she is screaming and yelling at this man, her mask is off. And later in the video, some dude is like trying to restrain her. His mask isn't on. It's just, can we stop with the masks? They don't work. None of this works. We're going to talk some science here, but none of this works, okay? It's all insane. That's where we're at right now. Like, we have an unmasked person yelling at a masked person on an airplane that they're putting people in danger. It's just fucking crazy. The NYPD, and I'm going to add a caveat. I support the cops. I support good cops who enforce the laws. However, I do not support power hungry cops. I do not support asshole cops. I don't support bad seeds in any walk of life. And NYPD, sorry guys. Yeah, Lenny, yeah, the guy was like 80 and she punched him in the face and spit on him. But the point is, like, no one had a mask on, and she's yelling at him to put his mask on when hers isn't on, and the guy restraining him doesn't have his on right. And fuck you, all of you are insane, and you just need to calm the fuck down. Because, and okay, I'll get to the NY thing in a minute, but let me explain why you need to calm something down. So we're all, any sane person has not been afraid of this stuff since day one. Okay. We've understood it's a virus. It will do what it's going to do. Short of being in pure, like, filtered air lockdown, nothing, you're not going to make a difference in this. Okay. So it was bad for no one, but, and I'm talking when it first started, COVID was bad for no one except people with comorbidities, which is pre-existing conditions, overweight, asthma, all shit that would kill you with, the common cold. And old people. Yeah, old people get pneumonia and die. I don't know if you guys know that, but if I get pneumonia, it probably not going to fucking kill me. Okay? Now, if I was 900 pounds with asthma and stuff, pneumonia might kill me. Okay? Same with COVID. Okay? So I agree. It was dangerous for that group of people. It did not need to affect all of us. I truly believe, and this is the last time I'll say this, it was a ploy to get rid of Trump. That's it. Now, we've moved on to Delta, which we all survived, and now we're on to the Omicron variant. And the Omicron variant, everybody's like, oh my God, it's so much more contagious. But it doesn't really do anything to you, so I don't know how to make you scared of it. Let's just make shit up. So that's what they do. Let's be clear, Omicron might be much, much more contagious, but it is so far less deadly, it's not even funny. And do you know why that is? This is for all you liberals out there. Listen real close. It's called science. And this is science. If a virus kills all of its hosts, that's not a real smart virus. Because pretty soon, it's not going to have any more hosts. Okay? It'll die out. And a virus is just like you and me. I don't know why I sound like Bill Clinton, but I do. All right, a virus is like you and me. It just wants to survive. So what a virus is going to do is when it mutates, it will become more contagious, less deadly. So eventually, and it's been this way for, I think, the better part of a year, it's going to be the common cold. Okay? It will survive all year. It'll be an endemic like the flu. People will get sick. People who are at extreme risk might pass away. And I'm sorry for them and their families, but that's what happens. The flu kills old people and unhealthy people all the time, and nobody seems to give a shit. And that's going to be the same way. But if we're following the science, scientifically and fucking logically, if a virus kills its host like 90% of the time, that virus ain't going to last real long because it's going to run out of hosts and then everybody's dead. And that's not the point. Okay, evolution would dictate, and I'm not saying I believe in it or not, but some of you, doesn't matter. Even evolution, Christianity, Judaism, all of them would dictate that, that things want to live and flourish. Even a virus wants to live and flourish. So what it's going to do, it's going to mutate and become really contagious, but it's not going to fucking kill you. It's going to be like the common cold. And that's what makes sense, and that's the science. Wearing your little cloth bedazzled mask with 1/4-inch gaps in it and shit under your nose with the twisted ear loop, that doesn't make sense. Screaming at an old man on an airplane to put his mask on when yours isn't on, then spitting on him for his safety or your safety, that doesn't make sense. None of this makes fucking sense, okay? Like the NHL canceling this game. Oh, we're not going to get into that tonight. Oh, I got much more to say about this, but we gotta move along. Okay, so the NYPD is being assholes, and that's what I said. I support cops when they're not being pieces of shit, and NYPD, I'm a small town podcaster, but if you would like to call in and weigh in on this, I'd love to have one of you, because I love you guys, but the group on the video that I'm going to talk about, you're all pieces of shit. So they're at a restaurant tossing some kid out and scaring the literal shit out of him. He's like 7, and apparently he didn't have his vax card, or I don't know the story. I don't care. This kid was unarmed and not an actual threat, and they had like 50 cops accosting this child, throwing him and his family out of a restaurant. Shame on you, assholes. Fuck yourselves. You give everybody a bad, and then you wonder why people sometimes don't like cops. It's because people like you. What a bunch of shitheads. Okay, so John Madden died today, guys. It's a bummer. I love John Madden. You get drunk and just say random shit. You're like, well, to win a football game, the best way to win a football game is the only way you just got to score more points. Yep. I agree, John. You got to score more points than the other team and you'll win. Like, he said the most obvious shit in the world about football. Like, well, a touchdown is worth 6 points, and that's a good touchdown, and an extra point is worth 1, and, well, a 2-point conversion, that's worth 2. He was a good coach for the Raiders. I fucking hate the Raiders, but I guess he was a good coach for them. I honestly can't wait. And I know this is like shit on a dead man's grave, but I can't wait till it comes out like, oh, he was a drunk, racist, sexist asshole. I'm not saying he was. But, I mean, he was a football coach in like the 60s and 70s and then a drunk commentator. I'm pretty sure he said some off-color stuff, okay? It's fine. He was a great man. He was a video game franchise forever. Like, if you guys ever played any football game on Xbox, it was a Madden game. I think NFL Blitz was PlayStation. I don't know, but it sucks that he died. But he was 85, and I'm pretty sure he lived a rough life. I don't know, man. All right, on to some fun stuff. A fun thing. Okay, so if you guys don't know, well, you do know because you listen to this podcast religiously every week, and you tune in to the gaming streams on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on the weekends. And if you don't, you click the little bell notification. It'll let you know when I'm live or when I upload something. Because our podcast is everywhere. Dutch and Denver, it's on like iHeart, blah, blah, all that stuff. Doesn't matter. Okay, so Kyle Blippo, our buddy, he's been on here before. We played games with him. I've talked to him, with him, about him. He's getting married. You guys know that. He's getting married to RJ, and you know that because she's been on this podcast. So he calls me tonight, and he's like, "Hey, I'm up here with RJ, and we're planning the wedding, and you're the best man, and blah 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 blah. What kind of sword do you want?" I was like, "Wait, what?" It's like, "Yeah, man. What kind of sword do you want?" Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah, we're gonna get everybody swords. What the hell, man? No, we're not getting everybody swords. Okay, that is a terrible gift for a groomsman. I don't want a sword. Like, I don't care how real, or I'm not putting that in my house. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons nerd. And if you play Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not calling you an actual nerd, but you know what I mean. Okay? Like Pokemon card, Tippy Toe Walker. No, man. I'm not displaying a replica sword in my house. What about a real one? No, that's also a stupid gift. That is not what you get your groomsmen. I couldn't believe that. And actually, I half expected something like that out of Kyle, just because he's out of touch with like reality, kind of. But I gave him some ideas that, hey, like, why don't you get us all like a pewter flask with like our initials engraved in them and the date of your wedding, something like that, or you get so. Kyle and I go way back through video games, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter, but he could get us like, shut up, Phil. There, there will be no swords, okay? I, God damn it, Phil, you're helping this debacle. Um, but I was also like, hey man, you could get us like cufflinks, and they're small, no one would notice it. But like, so Kyle's gamer tag is Blippo Jones, and we all call him Blippo. So he could have like his cufflinks were like Blippo, and he could get me ones that were like Dutch the Beast. That's my gamer tag. If you guys want to play games, it literally is Dutch the Beast. And we have another friend whose gamer tag is Darwin something something something. So get him ones that say Darwin, and the other ones like is Goose. So get him ones that say Goose. It's it's like it's something communal that we get and it is meaningful to us. If you get me a sword, I'm probably gonna stab you with it, call you stupid, and leave. Or you could, I mean, get like a commemorative coin, and people go, coins are stupid, Dutch. No, but if you actually had like a coin that had like an engraving on it, like the date, the location, the wedding, and like something sentimental, that'd be much better than a goddamn sword on a wall. Because I'm not a kid anymore, and I don't think like replica. Like if someone gives me a replica Master Chief helmet, I will treasure that for my entire life. Um, God damn it. Okay, Phil, it's not a medieval wedding style. Okay, it's like a normal. So now you're on the page of me. It's like a normal wedding. Tuxes, blah blah blah, a normal wedding. But the okay, Phil, do you know how a wedding works? Like you have to get your groomsmen. If you're the groom, you have to get your groomsmen like a gift. Just a small token, like cufflinks or a flask or something like that. Not a fucking sword. So it's a normal wedding, and Keel wanted our groomsmen gifts to be swords, like a Geralt of Rivia sword, or like a no, that oh God, no, that's a terribly no bad idea, Keel. And I don't worry, I already talked to Kyle about this. He knows I'm going to shit on for this, but yeah, dumb idea. Like I said, maybe like a real pewter flask because those are hard to come by. Well, not hard to come by, just they're a little expensive, but they're very nice. And you get like a small pewter flask with my initials and the date of the wedding or something like that. No, Phil, that would not be nice. I'm not going to a medieval style wedding. Phil, do you guys have what's it called? Like a Renaissance festival out there? Like in Colorado, we have I guess a pretty famous Renaissance festival that it's like going back and okay, it's more of a medieval thing than a Renaissance because the Renaissance wasn't quite like the Dark Ages, which is, like mead and pissing in the streets and stuff. Renaissance was more like the age of where we discovered um, color in paintings, and paintings were more like proportional and stuff. So we could talk about history later. But yeah, we call them Renaissance festivals. You have like your turkey leg, and they have jousting and knights, and a king and a queen. And not to say there weren't kings and queens in the Renaissance, but I think it was a little before. I don't want to go to that wedding. And also, Phil, I don't know if you've seen what the Game of Thrones, but the wedding where everybody fucking dies. No, count me out. That's why you don't bring swords to weddings, man. That seems like a terrible plan. I'd much rather have a flask and put something good in there. Like a. I mean, fuck, I'd be good with Jim Beam. Do not put Pappy. That shit's overrated. Okay, but the point of the story is no goddamn swords at your wedding, Kyle. That is just a terrible. Well, Kyle's not listening to it now. You can call him. Oh, you don't have any Renaissance Festival? Okay, so Phil, you should Google the Renaissance Festival in Larkspur, Colorado. And I could type in chat that, but I'm not going to. But you should Google it because I mean it's a big one, and it's actually gotten expensive, which isn't that great. It's like $50 a person, and because I remember going as a kid when there weren't so many people, and like that's when I got my first bow and arrow, which is like just a piece of crap one that I got pretty good at. And then I got adult ones and stuff, but you know, it's cool. Yeah, it's like turkey legs and meat, and they have jousting, and they have sword fights, and they have like gestures, and or yeah, jester, and like a castle, and there's a blacksmith, and it's supposed to like recreate medieval times. But you don't recreate medieval times at your fucking wedding. The people that do those weird theme weddings are like way into something, which is fine if you guys met in like a Warcraft chat room, and that was like the basis of your um yeah, okay, so Lenny's got it like a pilgrim festival. Like he goes back to, the 1600s, and you eat pilgrim food, and they dress as pilgrims, and they talk as pilgrims, and you do like pilgrim stuff. Like they probably show you like how they first planted Indian corn or something. Um hey, that's cool you live near Boston, Lenny. I got my brother lives in Philly, and he's got a bunch of family in like Potomac, Maryland and stuff. So yeah, all back east. Phil. Yeah, of course. Phil, I can almost promise you're not going to have a Lord of the Rings wedding for two reasons. A, no woman is going to agree to that shit. No woman worth marrying. And B, no, no woman is going to. Now, if you meet a woman who is willing to do that with you, I want to be invited, but I'm not sure I will participate because I also think that if you're going to get married, it should be, not a joke. And if it really, like I said, if you guys met in like a Lord of the Rings chat room, and that is what you bonded over, and she's like, you look like Frodo, and Phil, I know what you look like. You don't look like Frodo. And if you look like Frodo and she looks like Frodo, and you literally are the only two people in the world for you, I get it. I don't think other people will come though. But yeah, no swords, Kyle. Get your shit together. All right, guys. We're rolling in about an hour. I'm done for the night. There's a couple other things to talk about, but I didn't really want to. Like, Biden was like, "Oh, the COVID's not a federal issue," when he basically ran on that. That's stupid. Colorado had another mass murder. It was odd. He went to tattoo places, but I think we'll talk about that later when I have more information. It's not a gun problem, I'll tell you that though. People die in cars, and nobody seems to want to take away fucking cars. It's a mental health problem, and it always will be. So lock the crazies up. But hey, I appreciate everyone who listened tonight. If you didn't listen live, you know where to find us. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor.fm/Dutch in Denver. All of it is Dutch in Denver. You can search that. Unless you're on Twitter, then it's Dutch in Denver. No I. It's just Dutch, the letter N in Denver. We have a Facebook page. If you want to follow my main account on Twitter, it's at Dutch the Beast, which is also my gamer tag. I'd love to hear from any of you guys. Help me help you. Like, subscribe, do what you can. I mean, if you want to throw money my way, go for it. We have Streamlabs and stuff like that. But if you don't want to, a like and subscribe is perfect. That's all the better. I'll be back next week. But we might do 2 podcasts this week. But we'll definitely be back tomorrow for some gaming. And Phil, you better have fucking Halo downloaded. I don't want to hear any excuses at all. None. Until next time, guys. Bye.